Okay, well, today's video is a little late. I know I had the option to either stay up really late last night and film it, or wake up this morning, enjoy my coffee, and then film the video. So I opted for that option. But today we're gonna talk about everything that we got in yesterday's shopping video at the antique shop, talk a little bit about what we paid for it and how much I can expect to get for it on eBay. So, unfortunately, all of the items no longer have tags, and I cannot remember exactly what I paid for each item. So in this instance, we are going to cost average. Now, we've talked about this before. This is kind of how we run our business. We cost average things. So out here, our total spend was $107, and we are dividing that by 10 because we're selling each individual item. And so we're going to divide that by 10, and our total cost per item was about $10.70. So keep that in mind as we go through these items. That is about what we paid for each individual item, not including the mushrooms, which I'm putting together, and the salt and pepper shakers, which also count as togetherness. So here we go. Let's talk about what we got. Now, one of the first items that we picked up, I think, if I remember correctly, was this vase right here. Now, this is marked Nippon on the bottom. If it doesn't focus on my face. This is an early mark for Japan. Nippon is the equivalent to Japan, and it's an earlier mark. So we can date this to the late 1800s, early 1900s. This piece right here is a Moriage texture, which is this raised texture right here. It's got these beautiful flowers and it's got handles. It's just a really nice piece. Now, when it comes to these vases, the prices just are kind of all over the place. A lot of the ones with a more bold Moriage, I guess you could call it. The Moriage is more bold and just a lot more distinguished and just a lot more, I don't even know how to describe it, just a lot more fussy. When the Moriage is a lot more fussy, those pieces tend to sell a lot better than when it's more subtle. Personally, I think the more subtle look is a little bit more elegant. So I like this one more than the real fussy ones. But I just loved the way that the painted flowers kind of went with, you know, the rest of the vase. It's just, I think it's a nice piece. Aesthetically, it's a nice piece. So this piece right here, I would probably expect to get $60 to $70 for. It is, like I said, it's marked Nippon, and it's a really nice older piece. So there we go. We also got to this vase, which is like the extreme opposite of our, of our other vase. This piece right here is actually Royal Hager. And you guys know I'm a nut about Royal Hager, but I would not have pegged this for a Royal Hager. Actually, I picked it up and didn't expect to see Royal Hager on the bottom, and I was actually pretty thrilled about it. This pattern right here, this glaze pattern, I guess you could call it, is called Earth Wrap. And it was actually a line for Royal Hager. And it is marked on the bottom, but it came in either a darker base or this white base. And I can't tell you when it was made. I don't know the date that they were making this line, but it's kind of got this alligator texture to it. I don't know if you can see that, but it's interesting. A piece like this would sell between $40 and $65. That's typically what they go for. I also got this little guy. Cute little elephant creamer. He's just a little figural creamer. He's got his little tail that you can pour him with. He's not marked, so I'm not sure where he's made. Yeah, not really sure. He's not marked USA or anything really, so I don't know if that makes him Japanese. I don't know. This little guy right here, I would expect to get like 15 bucks for. 12 to 15. So on this one, when we cost average, we're gonna about break even, but that's all right. Oh, there's a spider. There was a spider on my arm. Kill it. It's dead now. Thought I felt something on my arm. It was a spider. Ooh. All right, it's dead now. It's all good. Let's continue. This right here, I believe I had picked this up in a previous video and passed on it because the price on it, and I will tell you, I can remember the price on this was, I think, $22. Granted, it was 20% off, but still about $20. But you know, the second time through, this most recent time, I saw it again and I just thought, ugh, it's so beautiful. That bright gold just kind of draws your eye, and I just love the way it's painted. And I can tell you the reason I passed by it the first time is because the bottom was so white. And I thought, you know, I don't know if that has age to it. But the more I look at it, I almost wonder if they used a white paint to paint over the bottom, which kind of seems silly, but there's no mark on the bottom, and I feel like this piece would have been marked. So if they used a white paint on the bottom, it would have covered up the mark. Now, the first thing I thought, you guys have seen the little salt cellars that we've sold, the little ones, we've had gold and green. They're the exact same shape as this. And Drew saw it and he says, oh, look at that, it looks like a salt cellar. I'm like, it's probably not. It'd be a very massive salt cellar, but it is a little dish. And I fell in love with the design and the colors and the contrast and the mint green with the blue. Something about it is very pleasing. So I had to have it. But yeah, I wish I knew more about it. It kind of got me puzzled, and I hate being puzzled. But if I just knew the maker, I would feel so much better about it, but I don't. Another item that we picked up, another 2 items we picked up, were these little art glass mushrooms. These were the first items I noticed even before the Hager vase. And what I liked about these was just the shape. They're very mid-century. And doing my research on these pieces, it is very, very highly possible that they are Viking. Unfortunately, they would have had stickers, and I cannot say for certain. I can't attribute them 100% to Viking. So I can't say that they are Viking, unfortunately. But I'm pretty sure they are. Just can't say it. So I'm calling them art glass mushrooms. But for the pair of them, I would expect to get $45 for the pair, at least. Maybe a little bit more. The prices on these are just all across the board. And they come in all different colors. There's reds and amberinas and amethyst and cobalt, and they're just all different colors. Personally, I think the amber are a little bit more natural, so I like those. All right, what else do we have? We got a couple small things, like this little kitten in a shoe. It is marked Occupied Japan. I don't know if you guys can see it. It wants to focus on my face. It is marked Occupied Japan. I have bought and sold these in the past, back when I was using that other platform that shall not be named, because I just, a lot of you are asking, why don't you use Etsy anymore? I had a bad relationship with them, so I decided that I will no longer be using their platform. But anyway, this piece, back when I was using Etsy, we sold a ton of these for, I think, like $12.95 a piece. So when I saw this, and I think they wanted, I don't know, $6 for it. I thought, you know what, I have to have that. And the ones that we had were not Occupied Japan, I don't believe. So Occupied Japan things tend to be a little bit more desirable, at least they were years ago, and sometimes that still boosts them up. So whether or not this is a toothpick holder or a little mini planter, I do not know. But a piece like this, I would expect 10 to 15 for. So we've got our little hound dog. This guy right here. He's just got the saddest face, and I love how disproportionate he is. His head is way bigger than his body, and he's really cute. He's porcelain. He's not ceramic. He's got this really high gloss to him. For him, I would expect to get, I want to say 15 to 20 for him. He's actually a really nice piece, and he is unmarked, so I'm not sure about him. I just really liked him a lot. Salt and pepper shakers, another one of our smalls. Now these little guys are redware. They are marked Japan on the bottom, and they have their corks, which is kind of surprising actually. They're probably really dry rotted. They've got corks, and they're just cute little puppy dogs. I found a few for sale online, and I think people are asking $15 to $17 for them. I would expect probably to get 10 to 15 for them. They are a cute little pair, and it's in the holes to pour the salt and pepper are actually in their mouth. So that's interesting. We've got our vase. Now, Andrew saw this all spread out on the table right before I did this video, and he said, oh my gosh, I absolutely love that vase. That is so nice. So he was pretty pleased with the items that I got at the antique shop. This one and the next item that I'm going to show you, and those of you who watch the video know what I'm talking about. This piece right here does have some age to it. It's got a nice pontil mark at the bottom. If you guys can see that. There we go. So that mark is basically when they were blowing the glass, they had this rod that stuck out of it. When they broke it off, they have a pontil. Sometimes they would polish it or smooth it. This one's still got a little bit of roughness to it. It's a little bit sharp, actually, I'm not gonna lie. These pieces were, you know, a lot of the times I come across them and they have flowers painted on them. And almost like 70% of the time, I can attribute them to Bristol glass. This one's got a weird, different kind of pattern on it, and I found one very similar online, and the person selling it had also attributed that to Bristol glass. I don't know if Bristol did anything other than flowers. I don't know. Maybe they did, but I wouldn't go right out and say this is Bristol. It's possible it's Bohemian glass. So this piece is just kind of a mystery to me, and I've got it listed right now, and I think I just have it listed as art glass. I don't have it listed as Bohemian or as Bristol, because it's hard to attribute it when it's got no marks, when the design is unique and it's hand painted. It's just a tough one, but it's an absolutely gorgeous piece, and I can remember that I paid $9 for it. So that was a pretty good feeling when you're just like, oh, I like that one a lot. And I'm like, I only paid $9 for that one. So this piece right here, I would expect to get, I want to say $40 for. Just because it's so unique and the design is just so pretty. And the glass is so thin. I really like that piece. And it is kind of a satin finish. It's a nice piece. And last but not least, our pitcher. Our beautiful pitcher. If you watched the video, you saw I walked into the booth. I was so thrilled because they had this etched pitcher up on the shelf, and right beside it they had this, and the tag said etched pitcher with girl. And I looked right at it and knew what it was. I mean, we've been talking about it a lot, and I don't know why it just keeps showing up over and over again, but it seems to be a reoccurring theme here on the channel. This design, for those of you who don't know, for those of you who do know and have been watching my channel, I apologize, is called a Mary Gregory design. It's this white silhouette of this little girl. Mary Gregory was one of the first people it was attributed to, but it's just become a Mary Gregory style, so it's still used as a term to describe this design. So Westmoreland had it, Fenton had it. Lots of people just use that to describe this silhouette of little girls and boys and dogs and all sorts of stuff. But anyway, this piece right here has a lot more age than, you know, the Westmoreland plates that we picked up a couple weeks ago. You can tell specifically, it's got this pontil at the bottom. We just talked about that. So obviously it's blown, and that one's actually kind of smooth. And also the imperfections in the glass. Drew was so excited as he was looking at the imperfections in the glass. He's such a nerd, but I love him. He's like, oh, look, there's a pot stone in the glass. So, you know, things like that tell you kind of, okay, this has got a little bit of age. But I really liked this piece. And you can come across some of the Victorian pieces. I suppose this could be Victorian, but some of the really like fancy Victorian ones with the big like ruffled edges and stuff, those ones are really nice. They come in cranberry and they have green ones, and they're just really fancy. I do kind of like the simplicity of the clear one, but the cranberry ones are just, you know, with the white silhouette, the cranberry ones are just, oh. Now it probably would have come with little glasses, and I looked through the booth, I couldn't find the little glasses, unfortunately. But a set like this piece is probably $50 to $65. When you start having the set, then, you know, the value goes up, of course. And when you start getting the colors, the value goes up. But no, I'm really pleased with this. I paid $12 for this. I know I said we were cost averaging and I wouldn't remember what I paid for stuff, but I fibbed maybe a little. Anyway, this was just kind of a short haul video. We didn't buy a whole lot, but I just wanted to share it all with you guys and kind of go through it just to talk a little bit more about it than I did in yesterday's video. Andrew and I are going to film 3 flea market boxes, which are on the floor right here. And then we are going to, well, I'm going to go out with Sue and we're going to go visit 2 of the Finders Keepers consignment stores that we haven't been to, because it is a kind of a chain. There's multiple locations, so we're going to go visit 2 of the locations we have not been to. And one other thing to talk about, we are going to be moving into a new location, a temporary new location. We're still working. A lot of you are asking, are you getting a retail location? Are you getting a we're still negotiating that. The space that we were looking at is kind of, things aren't really lining up, which is kind of disappointing, but we had another opportunity come up to move into a space. It doesn't allow for retail, but it allows us to get a lot of the shipping and everything out of our home, which is nice. So we're going to be moving into a temporary location where we can run our business out of, store all of our stuff. You know, Sam can go over there and do the listings, you know, just kind of move the business out of our home and into a separate location and kind of, I don't know, just having the business in the house is just too much. So we're going to be moving into a temporary location, and we'll kind of give you guys a peek at that. But as far as the retail location goes, we're still negotiating that. There's some unrealistic expectations. We just got to figure all that out. I would love to make it happen. It is going to happen. It's just the timeline and when it's going to happen, because I'm holding out to get what I want, like any good business person. So anyway, I'm gonna end this video here and we will see you guys tomorrow. My family calls it my superpower. It's my ability to see value in things that other people might overlook.